Hey guys, welcome to another video for the Unfound Anamnesis. I'm Matt. This video is about character development. So we've specified that in modern day, Estonia's population is about 15,000 people, give or take. And within the cosmos, in the universe, there's Titans, there's Zigra, there's Insasia beings, there's Saginta, there's hybrids, there's arcs. And so we're talking quite a few people. And we don't want all these people to be the same, of course. And we also find as writers of fiction that when we create a really dynamic character, we can orchestrate, like arcs do, the external circumstances and maybe even a little bit of the internal circumstances, but mostly the characters tell their own story. You know, we bring in circumstances that guide them and shape them and lead them. But the more you have a dynamic character, the less we're actually writing that character. And the more we're just putting people in a setting and allowing them to play out destiny. And so a big part of writing a story like this, as evidenced by the fact that we've had our first comic not even out yet, it's coming out in a month. And we've already done probably 4 or 5 hours worth of content on this channel. A lot goes into the backstory. A lot goes into the characters. A lot goes into the history. And then you set this scene and you just allow it to move forward. And so that's what this video is all about, is when Dylan and I create characters, or when we create characters with you. Maybe you create a character on your own and you bring it to us. These are some of the things that we are routinely asking so that we can really paint the picture of this character and allow them to come to life in a very real way. So I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to walk through a couple of the big steps, a couple of the big questions for character development. The first one is, what do they desire? What do they want? And what do they need? Now, how are those first two things different? Well, what they desire is in this moment, what are they after? What are they craving? Desire is often looked upon in the personal development world as this negative thing, like lust, this thing that overtakes you. And instead of you being your awareness and sitting back in the seat and observing yourself, you just become that desire. And that's partially true. In this case, it's just what in any moment is driving our characters forward. You always want your character to be proactive, not reactive. A proactive character goes out and does things, and that's an interesting character. A reactive character, not that interesting. You're just waiting for things to happen. What do they want? Think more deep, think more heart. By the end of this chapter of their life, by the end of their lifetime, what do they really want? You know, what would make them feel like they had a fulfilling existence? And then need, on a storytelling level, on the narrative level, for this person to become what they are destined to become, what do they need? You know, what are the needs in the end of their story for this storyline to feel fulfilled? Because it's often different than what they actually want. And it's very different in scale to what they desire. And so classic, like I'll take as Matt, as the Christian in the group, I'll take one order of God's plan. And I know that it's so much better than anything that I can imagine for myself. That's essentially me saying, I'd like to align with what I need. And what I want is important, sure. But if my fulfillment comes down to my want or my need is going to win every time. So first question. Second thing that we discuss is, what are their conflicting characteristics? Now, Dylan did a video about this. A conflicting characteristic is something that creates this tension in every moment of every scene, what version of our main character are we going to get? He gave the example of Jack Sparrow. Are we going to get the drunk, or are we going to get the wily genius? I just read a book in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, and he's got the world's greatest warlord, a man who has killed thousands of people. In fact, you might have him going in this battlefield, and he's got this special armor that makes him basically indestructible and light on his feet. And he gets the battle thrill, and he'll come out of the thrill and hundreds of people will be dead. And he'll be like, whoa. And then later in his life, after he's helped his brother get the throne, when he's still fighting and he's still doing his thing, he's still a legend. He's not washed up, but he's definitely moving in that direction. He starts to have this crisis of conscience. He thinks, violence is not the answer. What am I doing? Like, this is not who I am now. And he's had years to cultivate this diplomacy, and he sees that with my current enemies, diplomacy is going to work far more than violence. And so he'll be in the middle of a battle, and you'll start to see him questioning himself, recognizing the futility of his methods. And so he might be having this crisis when he's surrounded by hundreds of enemies who want to kill him. And like, that creates a lot of tension. Are we going to get the guy who just mows down his enemies, or are we going to get the one who is standing guiltily in the middle of the battlefield while people are barreling down on him? Even though you're so confident in his ability to fight when he's in his right mind, he's not always in his right mind. Or maybe he's just now becoming into his right mind. Then there's 5 important questions. These 5 important questions have to do with your character's behavior. It's, how do they respond when they have somebody who is weaker than them? How do they respond when they have somebody who is superior to them? How do they react when they themselves are superior? How do they react when they are outclassed? You know, when they have somebody, and maybe it's in a battle sense, and this person, this David versus Goliath, they're walking up, and they're just, their ability to do the thing pales in comparison to the person that they're facing. And then the last one, what is the 5th question? I'll put it in the chat, in the comments. I can't remember what the 5th question is. But it really helps you see what the behavior they're going to exhibit when they interact with other characters. And so you don't have to think so much about all their different dynamics, although you are going to think of dynamics when people are coming and interacting with each other. But you really just have to think, what is the answer to that one question? Because this person is coming in and they're superior. This person is coming in and they're inferior. And so we can look at the sheet and say, how are they going to react to one another? Another interesting question, how are they significant in the world? And this is usually like, how are they special in the world? Are they the main character's mother? Are they the main character's best friend? How are they going to factor in? What is their significance to the story? And then how are they unique? When you look at their characteristics, what makes them different? Well, this person has one leg. Their beast is the forgotten lost god. And that's what makes them unique. And so defining these few things just allows us to know what's going to capture the eye of the audience. Why is the audience going to care about this person? First, why are they significant to the story? Do we even need them? And how are they unique? What's going to capture our attention? And then lastly, what lessons do they teach? And maybe there's one main lesson, maybe there's multiple lessons, but if you can answer this question for yourself, maybe you're even thinking about a character and you're like, man, right now I've really realized that everything can be spiritual, and I can go about my day as a prayer, that the liturgy of my life does reflect what I worship in the moment to moment to moment to moment, and that there's no moment of any day that is not sacred, because the most important step on your self-mastery journey is the next step. Okay, love that. That was really smart. Cool. Let's bring it into a character and let's have that character teach this lesson. So if you have a lesson that you want to teach, if you have some conflicting characteristics and you think this would be an awesome person to have in the world, doesn't matter which one of these answers you get first. What's important is then we take that one answer, we ask these other questions, we build this dynamic character, and then we get to introduce them into the world of the unfound anamnesis. So hopefully that was helpful in understanding what goes into character development. Maybe you can take this and build your own world, build your own characters, but we'd really like to have these characters come and join us in the studio.